Hi, and welcome to Reiki Women Podcasts. And today I have with me Marlene Telmosse. Now, Marlene, did I say that correctly?
Yeah, you did. Very good.
Thank you. And Marlene is a Reiki practitioner, but she's also a musician. So today,
late bloomer musician.
a late bloomer. Does it matter? Does it matter? Right?
No.
And that would be ageist if we were to be going on about that, really.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful thing at any time to be working with music. And I think the subject, as you know, is, about women's voices. That's really what these podcasts are about. So if I think of you and what you're doing, as you just said to me before, I'm a shy person. Yes. Yeah. And to really do something like that, which is putting yourself out there. And
definitely.
Yeah. So it's a big thing to do, and yet it's a beautiful thing to do because we get to listen to your work. So I'm going to be playing that work throughout our interview in some way when I get around to editing it. So people will be hearing it, and there'll also be a link for people to actually download it, and so they can listen to it at home, the full piece by themselves. But how I'd like to start this is to ask you about your creative process, and especially obviously using the system of Reiki. So I guess it's a little bit of a roundabout sort of around what drew you to the system of Reiki, including, working with music and how that's evolved for you.
Yeah. Well, I was first I started Reiki more like because I wanted some skills more to heal other, as I felt more like a healer in life. But I discovered that, the biggest part of it was what it can do actually for me and give me access to, what's all inside of me, including my own voice. So, that's part of the process. It's been not that long road, but I think it's normal, like 10, 15 years ago that I've started. And I always had like the meditative practice on and off at some point. I think it was still with me without an actual, set practice. But with the pandemic, and everything that brought us, I started a more regular practice because I needed the grounding more because of all what that's happening. And I discovered that, and I would do the meditative, but more with the precept and more with Reiki in mind, what that meant for me with the hands-on healing and everything, but for me. And I discovered that, it would, in my meditation, I would come up with ideas or just words, but that they were very rhythmic or even musical. So I started writing after, and sometimes it would I would want to sit and do my meditation, and then it would just, come intrusively in some way, but in a good intuition. So, I have started to play guitar maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And it's really with maybe 2 years ago that I really started to sing also. And I discovered that I could sing, which is a thing that I didn't know, that I didn't, I was not comfortable doing before. And, being with the family at home, and I just started playing a little bit and singing. And I discovered that it was something that I felt like doing it, and I like doing so. And I don't know if you want me or you have a question, or I just go on. Or...
keep going.
And about maybe a year ago, I decided, as the music class I was taking online with a teacher, to start to do a first composition. And it really felt like, it was getting something very deep inside of me in the way. And I was also, other than the pandemic, I was also living some changes in my life, a career change. And it kind of just, I don't know, like came up with that, and it settled everything in a way. And it was suiting with all the changes I was living. So.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So you started creating these things, and it's lovely to hear that in a way it feels like Reiki sort of inspired you to do it. Yeah. And also gave you the confidence in some way to do this. Yeah. Because it is a hard thing to sort of get up in front of people and play, even if it's just at home in front of family or whatever.
Yes, it is. I think it's the fact that, like I was mentioning, the grounding part of it. I think that just helped me just reduce any anxiety I can have, or but also I think it connects to something out and in. I don't know how to say it. It's just a way, and it gives you access to for me for the Reiki, and that's good for the creative but process, but also with everything I may be living in life. So.
I love that, how you say that, the out and the in. To me, that sort of says it's about that, isn't it? It's about that connection.
It is.
It's just that we remember that we are more than the in, and the out is not separate, and that together they exist like this within us.
Exactly. And it's just to reunite them, and when I was saying getting access to whatever there is, so that's the connecting part, but it's connecting in and out.
And you express that musically, which is beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. So nice. And I guess just one little question before we head off, and that is just about being a woman and how you feel working with the system of Reiki. Has that made any difference, or has it affected you in any way as a woman?
Well, I think that it's that connecting part. I think that's part of just connecting with an essence of whatever you feel as a gender, for me, and also I think that there is still a lot of issues with women's, and we just had the Women's Rights Day, and I think that just that connecting, whatever the way it is, whether it's by Reiki or whatever, I think it's always a good thing, and that helps us through as a reality as women, that connectedness, and also there is still some specific burden or obstacles being a woman, and I think that with that grounding I was talking about, being a woman, and just the fact that it helps with whatever issues that we have, I think, in life, whatever that, being a woman. I don't know if that really answered the question.
No, but I think it's beautiful, and I was just talking to someone today, and she said, every one of these podcasts that I've listened to that you've done, I've learned something. And I think that's so beautiful. And I think just listening to what you have to say there, just about grounding, is so important. And it's this thing that we forget. And, if we can sit in that grounded space, how that can really help us sort through whatever it is that we're going through. And
and in another way, we, in Reiki, we talk a lot about non-duality. And that's the thing also. I think that's, as women, and how we're kind of confront to that, man, female, part and counterpart and everything. I think it's also something that Reiki reminds us that, there's that non-duality, and that, everything is nothing, and and that we just we're all whole in whatever we feel we are, or whatever we are, So.
Yeah, that's very true. So remembering that that we all come from the same, if you like, and originally, and that we all have this essence in us. And exactly. I think that this was the first year for me that International Women's Day actually seemed to have an impact, I felt, Often it's just sort of like a thing, but you just mentioned it before, right? So, and I was just thinking, you know, it really meant something this year, I felt. And that says to me that that it's not just women going, oh, this isn't great. It's everyone going, hey, this isn't great. And that we, you know, we all come from that same, so we all can work together at making this a great whole existence for all of us.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
It is a little confronting to have to talk about stuff. Look, I've got no idea, you know, and I'm sure I say stupid things sometimes, but I don't really care, because I made a decision doing this that, you know, that I would speak my voice, whatever that is. Yeah. And I think that's for all of us, because I have felt that I haven't always spoken my voice. And I think that, you know, I've been scared that, oh, you know, of people's criticisms or, you know, all that stuff. And I think, well, that's part of the problem, isn't it? You know, that
not just saying anything. Yeah, well, I've had that experience too. Like when I was talking about a career change. Yeah, I'm having another one at the moment. So like, and that I realized I was in a place where nobody says anything, and I'm usually not the kind of person who will go out there, and I really felt compelled to speak out, and not in a critical manner, and I've been told, oh, you're a visionary, you know, and it's oh, things may change in 10 years, and yeah, so it's and I think the practice, like, because really with the pandemic, I really felt I connected more with Reiki. Like I said before, it was more like a skills, you know, healing and everything, and I think it also comes from that, you know, from Reiki, speaking your voice, and that it made me more assured in you know what I had to say, and you know, speaking out for myself, and I think it does that, you know, also and that again, I think it's connecting with who you are helps you to get that out afterwards, right?
You know, the obstacles that come in our way are often when we can look back, you know, on that, and that we can go, oh, wow, if I hadn't had that obstacle, you know, such and such would never have happened. They can often be such a blessing, even
and opportunities, you know, that and it's like saying that with obstacles we take, you know, the back road, and the back road is full of discoveries and gifts.
And you know, as far as creativity goes, like I'm a creative being, and I love being creative, but you know, creativity is no fun if it's a straight road. No. It's always those things that you're sort of like moving around, and you know, having to like, oh, I don't have that, so I'll use this instead. Oh my goodness, that just, you know, so it's just how we put
when you work with like with restriction, or not a restriction, but you know, and not necessarily being able to work your first idea makes you think about, you know, other possibilities, and that feeds the creative process, I think. Yeah,
and then it's unexpected and truly creative. Beautiful.
And also that you know, we all feel hardship at the moment, you know, of different and kind, and if it's just that being connected with one another, if we can feel more the other, and I think that can also be a huge difference in how I hope things turned out.
That's really beautiful, and I think we'll end on that beautiful note. And so thank you so much, Marlene. It's been a joy to have you here, hear your voice, and we'll hear it in other ways as well very soon. So looking forward to that. And thank you once again for adding your voice to Reiki Women everywhere.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. felt too long in such duality. Before you feel, learn to trust. Before you take, learn to give. Just travel light and you will be alright. Create your path, it might be out of sight. Why can't you see? It's you, not me. Holding the key to your own self-discovery. Before you run, learn to dance. Before you cry, learn to sing. Just find the voice of your reality. Beware the trap of false security. Before you fear, learn to care. Before you take, learn to spare. 'Cause in the